Earlier this year, hardliners in the Philippine military reneged a new agreement made through bilateral consultations, initiating large-scale resupply operations and inciting the fishermen.
From repeated collisions to frequent resupply missions in the South China Sea, the Philippines' actions are viewed in China as a calculated provocation, often under the guise of freedom of navigation. Let's take a closer look at the timeline of the ongoing tensions. Released footage suggests that since January, Philippine citizens have been illegally trespassing through Huangyan, where they were warned of by China. A series of confrontations occurred throughout February, as vessels from the Philippine Coast Guard and the Bureau of Fishery and Aquatic Resources repeatedly threatened Huangyan waters unlawfully, despite warnings from China. In March, without China's permission, the Philippines continued to try to deliver supplies, including building materials for their grounded Navy ship at the Ren-ai jiao.
Freedom of legitimate trade and transportation should follow certain regulations, and their actions are clearly not.
From April to May, organized groups of Philippine fishermen and civilians successively deployed fishing devices near Houtengjiao and entered the vicinity of Huangyan. Numerous journalists and so-called foreign observers were seen accompanying them. Experts suggest this tactic creates a narrative that may mislead international community.
You can see journalists and the drone operators on board. Their sole purpose appears to be capturing selective footage, staging provocations, and creating sensational media content to portray China negatively. China's Coast Guard has been conducting enforcement operations professionally and with restraint, according to my first-hand accounts. Philippine forces, however, exhibit disorganized and provocative behavior, including reckless navigation, deliberate route blockages, and erratic maneuvers.
Dangerous maneuvers include Philippine Marines on the illegally grounded ship at Ren-ai jiao, pointing rifles at Chinese Coast Guard, as suggested by this video revealed in June. But days later, the Philippine military justified the act as self-defense. With the Philippines continuing secret reinforcements of the grounded ship since 2022, on June 17th, they launched a multi-vessel supply operation at Ren-ai jiao, which included armed rigid inflatable boats and tactical vessels. Chinese Coast Guard officers boarded and inspected the boats, confiscating unauthorized firearms.
The Philippines aim at invoking their mutual defense treaty with the U.S. by claiming these are military personnel and law enforcement vessels, but they fail to follow principles of innocent passage during their operations. Despite
the fact that the two countries reached a provisional agreement on Ren-ai jiao in the following month, tensions have remained high. The situation also intensified near Xianbingjiao since August,
according to law,
when Philippine Coast Guard vessels ignored multiple warnings from Chinese authorities and deliberately rammed into China's Coast Guard ships. In October, further provocations occurred as Philippine vessels forced their way into waters off Huangyan. The impact of the Philippines' aggressive fishing practices and repeated vessel incursions has become increasingly evident.
Freedom of navigation is a false concept they use for cognitive warfare.